Oh my gosh, man. We're in the timeline now, folks. Vancouver Canucks fans, be prepared because we have just gotten ourselves some roster moves today and some conversations as to whom it is the Vancouver Canucks will play in the remaining games of this season here. The Canucks play off against the Minnesota Wild today. It could have been a really important playoff matchup had the Wild just lost a bunch of games and had the Vancouver Canucks just won a little bit more. There was a lot of potential here for things to be important, but ultimately, they weren't, because the Vancouver Canucks got eliminated. And now, we are taking a look at the roster notes and updates as to what's been going on in Vancouver today. Because we have ourselves two tweets to dive into. Firstly, earlier at 9 a.m. today, GM Patrick Allvin announced that Nikita Tolopilo and Ty Mueller have been recalled from Abbotsford under emergency conditions. Now, you might be saying to yourself, okay, what? The Canucks recalled a forward and a goalie, but those forwards and that goalie, Ty Mueller and Nikita Tolopilo, not necessarily the guys that you would immediately jump to when you hear, oh, the Canucks recalled an Abbotsford goalie and an Abbotsford forward. You would assume, oh, an Artyom Baines or an Artur Shilovs or somebody like that. But nah. Let's dive into what Rick Tocchet went out there and said today, too. Thatcher Demko is sick. Max Sasson is banged up. Elias Pettersson, not Elias, but Elias, is being shut down for the year. Ty Mueller will make his NHL debut today against the Minnesota Wild. So, yeah. That's what's up today, folks. Looks like it's going to be Nikita Tolopilo on the bench today. That's assuming Kevin Lankinen gets the start, as Thatcher Demko is going to be sick. Tolopilo has not played an NHL game yet. He was an Allsvenskan goalie for a few seasons before getting signed and brought over to the Abbotsford Canucks a year ago. .905 save percentage last year, .901 save percentage this year. He has a slightly positive record, which is awesome, bolstered up by all the wins that Abbotsford had recently. He does have the most games played amongst all Abby Canucks goalies, with 34. Shilovs, 18. Ty Young, 11. All with roughly the same save percentage and similar goals against average numbers. So all these goalies are pretty much in the same tier, if you wanted to boil it down to that. No real super standouts in the Abbotsford Canucks system right now, so giving Nikita Tolopilo some NHL experience, knowing what it's like to be in the National Hockey League and getting NHL pay for a day, that's gotta be good, right? Tolopilo is 25 years old, so I don't really think there's too much of an extended profile for growth here to become an NHL starter at some point, but still, he is a guy that I think is worth talking about. Meanwhile, if you go over to the forward that was called up by Vancouver today, Ty Mueller is a really interesting name. 22 years old, 5'11", 185, left-handed center, who will be the Max Sasson replacement in the lineup today as he makes his NHL debut. He was initially a Canucks draftee in the 4th round, 105th overall 2023 draft, so this was 2 seasons ago, where he was a sophomore for the University of Nebraska-Omaha NCAA team. He had slightly worse production the season after, but this year in the AHL, as a rookie, Ty Mueller has 38 points in 62 games played. Not bad for a 22-year-old guy who is just making his impact known in pro hockey. First season as a pro, first season getting a Vancouver Canucks game under his belt towards the end of the season. We'll see whether or not Ty Mueller ends up fading away to NCAA NHL obscurity like some of the other Canucks prospects we have seen throughout the years. The Akito Hiroses, the Cole McWards, those two are defensemen, but you can still recognize the profile of guys that a lot of Canucks fans were excited about because they were NCAA guys who eventually played at the end of a season, and Canucks fans thought they were good, but then they eventually fizzled out into obscurity and didn't really do anything. But Ty Mueller has had a really strong rookie season in Abbotsford, one of the top scorers on the team this year, so hey, everybody else above him had NHL time. Arshdeep Bains, Atu Ratu, Sammy Blais, of course. So why not give Mueller his chance to shine here in an essentially meaningless game for the standings, but also a game where these younger guys can show off what they can do. It ultimately is good, though, in my opinion, very, very good, that Elias Pettersson is being shut down for the year. And that is mostly because it's like, hey, if the guy's just not ready, he's not healthy, he's not good to go, he's not good to go. Like, we're seeing what all these other playoff teams are doing. Canucks are not a playoff team, but regardless. Sam Reinhart, missing games for rest. Jack Eichel, Nathan MacKinnon, these guys are out, probably out to the end of the year. It's hurting my fantasy teams like crazy because Reinhart, guess what? I played him instead of Andrei Kuzmenko today in one of my leagues because I didn't know that Reinhart was not going to play. And then by the time 4 p.m. rolled around, I was like, oh crap, Andrei Kuzmenko's on my bench, and now he's got 2 assists for the Kings. These games mean nothing, and for Elias Pettersson, I can understand that there is some sort of a panic aspect to this. Oh, if the Canucks want to trade Pettersson, then what are they going to do? He's not going to be able to boost his value. Teams are going to see, oh, he sucked during the 24-25 season, and then Miller left the team, and then Pettersson was getting a little bit better, but then he was hurt, and then he didn't play, and then Patrick Allvin called him out in the media, said he wants him to be better, and he wants him to train in Vancouver over the offseason. Oh no, Pettersson is not going to be able to play for the end of the season and show off his skills and boost up his value. There was really no value on Elias Pettersson regardless. And ultimately, it seems like, based off of what we're hearing with Quinn Hughes and his preferences and what he wants this team to do and what decisions he wants them to make, it seems like from Quinn's perspective, he wants Petey to stay around. He wants that guy on the team. He doesn't want him to get traded. If the Vancouver Canucks end up trading Miller and Pettersson in the span of a season, firstly, a year ago, that would have been seen as insane. But secondly, I mean, the entire Quinn Hughes saga would already have its penciled-in ending if you were to trade away Elias Pettersson in a spot where his value is so low like it is right now. Believe in the guy to come back, and I can understand if you don't. I personally am not fully convinced, but it's better for us fans to just believe that he can come back and be better. Especially now where it's like, yeah, he's not being forced to play. He's got that offseason starting early. He's out for the year. What an absolute dud of a fantasy pickup Pettersson would have been. I'm happy I didn't take him in any of my teams because, wow, I just didn't really have a good feeling after last year's playoffs. But EP40 out for the year. It's bad for his trade value. If you wanted to see this guy leave, then okay, I can understand getting upset about that, but it's just a lot easier for us fans to dive into the thought process of him being good next year, him recovering and allowing his body to get back up to speed. If he stays in Vancouver and he works with all the extra resources that Patrick Allvin keeps on saying the Canucks have, then could we see a 100-point Pettersson next year? I don't know. Give him a really strong winger like a Lekaramaki or a Nick Ehlers or somebody, and then we'll see what happens. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Nikita Tolopilo coming up, Thatcher Demko is sick, Max Sassen's banged up, Ty Mueller is up, and Elias Pettersson is out for the year. What are your thoughts about all these roster moves, and what are your thoughts on how the Canucks are going to play today against Minnesota? It's against Brock Besser's hometown team. Could this be Brock Besser's potential tryout session? If he scores a hat trick against Minnesota today, do the wild look at that and say, oh, that's crazy. We got to get this guy in free agency. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.